I, 32M, have a younger sister, Sarah, 30F, and for most of our lives, we've been close. Not that tell each other everything kind of close, but close in the way that we had each other's backs, especially when things got rough at home. Our family was complicated, our parents' marriage was strained, and by the time we were teenagers, they were openly hostile toward each other. They eventually divorced, and I ended up living with my dad while Sarah lived with our mom. Sarah and I kept in touch, but the distance grew between us after the divorce. It wasn't intentional, just a gradual drift that comes from living in different places and leading different lives. Still, I thought we were close enough to understand each other. I was wrong. 2 years ago, Sarah met Ben. At first, I didn't know much about him. All I knew was that he was older, by about 10 years, successful, and charming. Sarah seemed happier than I'd seen her in years, and she was excited to introduce him to the family. When I finally met him, I was a bit thrown off. Ben was charming, yes, but there was something about him that didn't sit right with me. He was the type who liked to be the center of attention and seemed to enjoy making others feel a little uncomfortable just to watch them squirm. Sarah brushed it off as his dark sense of humor. As Sarah and Ben's relationship got more serious, I tried to push my reservations aside. My sister seemed happy, and that was what mattered. They got engaged about 6 months into their relationship, and Sarah started talking about her forever. She was so thrilled, and I didn't want to be the one to bring any doubts into it. I kept my distance from Ben but kept my concerns to myself. Things started going downhill when I heard from our mom that Sarah was distancing herself from the family. She was pulling away, not returning calls, missing family dinners, and not responding to messages. Our mom was worried, but every time we brought it up with Sarah, she'd snap and accuse us of not being supportive. Then, a few months ago, she called me out of the blue, in tears, saying she was going through a rough patch with Ben. She told me that he was jealous and possessive and was starting to control every part of her life. She felt trapped. I tried to comfort her, told her that I'd support her no matter what, and she seemed relieved. But then, she went quiet again. I didn't hear from her for weeks after that. I tried calling, texting, and even showed up at her place, but she never answered. Eventually, I got a message saying she needed time and space. I respected that, thinking maybe she was working through her relationship issues on her own. Fast forward to a month ago, I got an invite to her wedding. I was shocked. I didn't even know she was still with Ben. I showed up at the venue feeling uneasy. When I arrived, Ben was there waiting for me. He pulled me aside, his face smug, and told me they didn't want me there. He said my attitude had been a problem for Sarah and that I'd only stress her out. I was stunned, but I respected Sarah's supposed wishes and left. I spent the next few weeks trying to figure out what I'd done wrong, wondering if maybe I'd missed some crucial detail. 2 days ago, I finally got my answer. Sarah reached out, but her message wasn't what I expected. She said that she didn't know how to tell me, but she needed to clear the air because it was weighing on her conscience. She admitted that she'd been pulling away from me because Ben had convinced her that I was untrustworthy and had it out for him. He'd apparently spun stories, twisting things I'd said or done to make it seem like I was out to sabotage their relationship. He even fabricated conversations and showed her evidence that I'd been gossiping about their issues to our family. Sarah confessed that, in her heart, she'd had doubts about the things Ben said, but she was so deep into the relationship, so attached to the idea of their life together, that she chose to believe him. I could sense her shame in the message. She apologized over and over, saying she felt trapped by the lies but had been too scared to confront him. I was in shock. Everything I'd felt, every suspicion, was right. I'd been manipulated out of my sister's life by someone I barely knew. Someone who saw me as a threat simply for caring about her. Sarah told me that she was working up the courage to leave him, but she wasn't ready yet. She asked me to keep what she'd told me a secret for now. So here I am. Reddit, pouring my heart out to strangers. I'm angry, I'm hurt, and I feel helpless. Sarah is still living with him, still under his influence, and I can't do anything about it without risking her trust. I want to reach out, to tell her to run, but she's made it clear that she has to do this on her terms. I'm lost. I don't know how to be there for her without making things worse, and I don't know how to stop resenting the fact that she believed his lies over me. I just hope she finds her way out soon.